Hello everyone, this is Mr. Katusha, and today I have another Napoleon Total War multiplayer battle here. It's just another 1v1, pretty small. But we are playing the ACW mod, so the Civil War here. We have our 10-pounder Parrots, our 6-gun battery going off here, firing into the Confederate forces. So I'm playing as the 2nd Corps of the Army of Potomac today. We have the cannons here firing off their shots, hitting over at the Confederate force today. Robert E. Lee is back with his forces here, leading the 1st Corps again of the Army of Northern Virginia. Over here I have my divisions ready, Harrow's division, Cadwell's division, and I believe my general is Hancock, who is way back there, of the 2nd Corps. 10th New York Volunteer Infantry and 69th Pennsylvania are going to follow up the flank here, hold this area. Now originally I was going to take this hill, but it looks like my enemy is already getting to it. He's falling back here from the house with the 24th Georgia. His troops are starting to fire here, it looks like. I can't see them quite yet. They're firing through the from the barn here. Even though it's a warehouse, it's like it's basically a barn. I mean, it looks like a barn, so I don't know. Getting off some shots here at my troops. Not doing too much damage, it doesn't seem like here. Haven't gotten too many kills. My artillery is going to start firing at the hill here, try to push off those Confederates. Let's see, this is my 3-inch ordnance, 4-gun battery, so some pretty big guns here. They're gonna start firing pretty soon. Nice shots. Not all of them are hitting, but we are going to start doing some damage. This unit has already taken quite some damage. Again, he has his Texas Brigade here, some of the more elite troops from the Confederate forces. My troops are going to start shooting their volleys into the Texas Brigade over there. Taking some casualties themselves here. Another guy goes down there. One of my favorite parts about this mod though is really the fences. Really cool looking what they did with it. 24th Georgia firing off some shots here as well. Holding their position here. The units are still taking a lot of fire from their Texas Brigade. They're taking a lot of fire from the artillery here. The rest of the troops are forming up on the fence there, it looks like, and he does have some troops holding here, which I did not know, but I'm keeping him as my force here, being a little cautious for the beginning. The 24th Georgia now starting to take a ton of casualties here from my forces. Behind this stone wall, but not really doing too much because the ground behind the wall is actually a little bit elevated, so they're going to fall back here, taking a lot of casualties. They still have their flag bearer there. They've lost quite a few troops here, taking casualties in the back as they run away. So we have pushed them away. It looks like his troops are going to retreat off the hill here, now realizing that he's outnumbered. Doesn't look like he's falling back yet, but he will definitely start running pretty soon. I'm going to fast forward it. Most of his troops are retreating. A lot of my troops are coming up. We are still getting a lot of good shots off into them, but it seems like they are retreating here. So they fall back off the hill, taking quite a few casualties as well from the cannons. This unit here taking 6 casualties, so not a ton, but from 1 cannon hit, or 2, taking out quite a few troops in the defense. So now we have actually done quite a bit with the artillery. We are frightening them. They are running off the hill here. My artillery doing a great deal there. My troops are actually going to move up to the hill, take the position. Most of my troops are moving to the small town here, forming up on the stone wall here. The 72nd Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry looking pretty cool. The red stripe on their pants. Troops forming all the way down. Hayes Division, Harrow's Division, and my, I believe there's another one, Cadwell's Division are my main divisions here in the battle. Actually, I think it's just Cadwell's Division and, oh, okay, Harrow's Division and Hayes Division. Those are my main ones. Moving up here. I also have the 1st Minnesota, which is a very famous battle, actually from this battle. Really close to this area, they charged a large group of Confederates in the woods, losing almost their entire unit. But saving time for Hancock to take his troops to Cemetery Ridge and hold off the Confederates later that day. Or I believe it was the next day. But they still held them off long enough for Hancock to reinforce that area, which we're actually fighting at Cemetery Ridge, not at it. I believe Cemetery Ridge is right here. This is for the third day. Seminary Ridge is over there where the Confederates were at, but the battle has kind of changed, and it looks like we are going for the offensive. But it's just a fun battle, not really too historical, not really a reenactment. So my troops are holding out here. We have taken a few casualties, it seems like, here, maybe from stray bullets and stuff like that, but I don't know. They've taken 3 casualties in that unit. I don't know what from, maybe friendly fire or something. My Cavalry's division is charging in to take out the Texas Brigade. Now, buildings in this game are a bit glitched, and it looks like my guys, as well as the Texas Brigade, are actually stuck in the building, going into a melee right now. So a bit laggy, also a bit loud. My troops over here are going to fire off, try to do some damage. It looks like they have some green. They're kind of like the 74th, but they have green instead of the red, which is cool. I didn't really notice that first time around. You have the little clover, as they are the 2nd Corps. So my troops are holding up here. I am holding this warehouse, but again, my troops are stuck in here. But we can still get off some shots, maybe do some damage to their troops. We're holding on this fence right here. Looks like they've taken a few casualties. Actually, I believe my artillery had gotten some good hits there. More shots coming in. Not doing too much damage, but we had gotten some hits earlier, as you can see some of the damage from them. They have a very strong position here, which I've been scattering with fire, just trying to try my luck here. I've gotten quite a few good hits here, doing some damage to their troops. But Robert E. Lee is in the force, already taking a few casualties there from the cannon, landing right near his unit. He's right there. And I believe Hancock is... he's still back here. I do move him up eventually, though. This is my commander. Now, it doesn't actually look like Hancock. Hancock had a pretty big beard. Or I think it was a mustache. He had some kind of beard. But obviously they couldn't represent all of the generals, because that would be pretty big of a challenge, but still really interesting. My 10 pounders are still not limbered up all the way, still holding back here, as well as my 3-inch ordnance, which again, the buildings are a bit glitchy, and my horses got stuck in here, 2 of them, so I've lost 2 cannons. My unit is still firing. They're somewhere, they're up here. They're still firing off, but not probably as effective, losing 2 cannons. So we're not quite advancing yet. I'm going to push up my Cavalry's division, lonesome by themselves, to fight off the 24th Georgia and Volunteer Infantry Regiment, just to try to damage them before moving in. They've already taken a lot of casualties from the cannons, so it shouldn't be too unmatched, but I would definitely push up into their flank. Now I have the 10th New York Volunteers on the flank, which I believe are Zouaves, which is pretty cool, modeled off the French regiments. But they are here. They will push on the flank. Now he does have 2 units, one that comes around from here and helps him out on the flank, but for now I just want to do some damage to the Texas Brigade, which is already taking quite a few casualties. My troops are going to push up through the forest here. Cavalry's division holding in these trees. Taking some casualties here, but not too many. Only a few, only 5 now. They're going to get off a good volley here. Let's watch them from their point of view. Let's see, they should be firing off into one of the regiments here. Really nice volley there. Using all of my lines, making them as thin as possible. 24th Georgia taking quite a few casualties there. Cavalry's division is still in the back. 69th is shooting into the warehouse here, doing some damage to the Confederates. The fighting has kind of slowed down. Again, these buildings are very glitched out, but you can see the carnage already from the fighting here. Quite a few have died in this small melee there, but definitely pretty gruesome. I'm pushing up my 10th New York onto this fence here to fire into their flank. Hopefully I'll do some damage, but it looks like he's going to hold out. He's not totally retreating all the way back, so holding his flank pretty well there. Now in this battle I've spent a lot of money on my artillery. I've got 4 pieces of artillery that are pretty big, so he has a lot more infantry than I do, spending his money probably a little bit more wisely than I did, because cannons are okay, but I was expecting to be more defensive, but in this case I have to attack, and my cannons don't really have too many good shots through these trees here. So they're kind of, I don't know, obsolete in this case, or they're not really useful, but I can still use them. I've still done some damage, but Probably would have been better if I had a few extra infantry regiments here. Horse Division running through the trees again. Holding out here in the woods, along with Cadwell's Division. I'm just trying to make it more even in the forest here. I've already taken a lot of casualties, but I want to fire into the 24th Georgia, which right now I'm kind of outnumbered, only slightly. But my troops are definitely going to do a lot more damage. We also have some more cover in the trees there, and they're taking tons of casualties now. 217, so actually we outnumbered them by now, 235 to 233, but we are still taking damage. Now there are 2 regiments on my 1, but my Cadwells should be able to support them a little bit. The 10th New York firing here into the flank, hitting some of the Texas Brigade here, hopefully along with some of the 24th Georgia. Well, their Hood's division is moving up to reinforce them like I said they were going to. So they have 2 regiments on my flank. I only have 3 to fight off. But my 72nd Pennsylvania is going to fire into the Volunteer Infantry Regiment here. So a big skirmish here, a big battle. Lots of shooting, lots of firing. My troops are doing a pretty good job of holding them off the Union superiority here in terms of weaponry and discipline, even though in this mod it doesn't really display that, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure the units are a little bit different in terms of their melee defense and all that, but... So we are firing right now into the 24th Georgia. So they're taking some damage, 206, already down quite a bit, taking a lot of damage. Volunteer Infantry Regiment also taking quite a bit of damage from Harrow's Division, but they are actually starting to deplete my troops here, getting off good volleys though into them. Looks like they have a cool hat. This is a lot different than the normal Union Regiment, so it's interesting to see that there. My 69th is still behind. I believe I moved them up because there's no point shooting into that unit. It's basically, they can't really do anything. He's now pushing out Hood's Division, so I retreat back into the orchard here behind the fence, the snake fence here. Hayes Division firing over into Hood's Division, which is taking a lot of casualties, getting hit by 2 units here. My 1st Minnesota is mainly just trying to scout and hold on to the flank because I do realize at some point that there are a lot of units over here. So I'm going to be really careful with that flank. Again, in my strongest area, I'm already kind of outnumbered, so I'm really watchful for that flank, which is really going to be my downfall. So to be careful for that. 24th Georgia is starting to take a lot of casualties now, losing almost 50 men here. Volunteer Infantry Regiment as well, almost taking 50 casualties. So almost 100 men on the Confederate side dead over here. You can see that Texas Brigade has taken a lot of casualties on this flank. They've also lost more than the other 2 regiments have. 198, 201, they're down to 190. Hood's Division though is almost completely healthy, besides the 1 man that they've lost. So I'm going to push up my 69th Pennsylvania and hopefully do some damage, but they have already taken quite a few casualties from the beginning skirmish over here. As you can see, some of the casualties earlier from the battle. They're going to push up and reinforce their allies here, their 10th New York. Fight off Hood's Division, hopefully. We are starting to beat the Texas Brigade here, as well as the forces, but he is going to reinforce his troops with the Volunteer Infantry Regiment, holding on the fence here, shooting into my 72nd Pennsylvania, over this small ridge here. So, really cool mod. I mean, I still love NTW 3, which I will probably get back to, like I said in the last video. But this is a really fun and cool battle, and cool mod. My troops are going to push up close into this fence, but definitely taking a lot of casualties in the process. Trying to get some more cover, but I don't think the fences do too much in terms of cover, but they're still cool for the battle. We're going to start shooting here. I believe that the stone walls actually do a little bit more because they're actual stones. That they've placed in like a line here. I believe they do some kind of protection, but I don't know. They're still taking a lot of casualties nonetheless. Hoods Division as well, taking a lot from my 69th. But my units are starting to break here, taking a lot of casualties already. 100 down to 160, as well as this unit. Losing almost 100 troops by now, or actually over that. Well, this unit right here is taking over 100 casualties. But very bloody in the center right there. We have a 2 versus 2, or a 4 versus 4. But they are taking a lot of casualties. In the center, they're starting to get really focused down by the musket fire, as well as the cannons coming in. But they do have really good cover under the trees from my cannon fire, as well as some musket fire using the fence here. McLaw's division looks like they do have some ability to fire at my Hayes division. As you can see over here, 3 divisions against my 1st Minnesota here, which I'm just going to hold in the flank. They've already taken some casualties, just moving up just a little bit, taking tons of volley fire from the enemy. So I'm really worried about those 3 units. If he is aggressive and pushes right now, I could lose this whole battle right on the flank, so I'm going to be really careful. $104, they're almost down by 150 men there. Texas Brigade, 150. So, losing a lot of troops already on this flank, but we have taken a lot. 10th New York actually retreats here, taking way too many casualties. First unit of my army to actually break, which is actually one of my better units, so this really worries me here. And they're running, of course, right through the middle of the battle. Doesn't make really any sense at all. But they're retreating here. Gonna get off another volley pretty soon from the Cadwell's division. They're probably hitting a lot of our own troops here. There we go. Getting some damage into the 24th Georgia. These units are taking a lot of casualties and might break quickly or soon. He's pushing in a 3rd division, so there's 3 divisions here against my 1 on the flank, so it's gonna really suck. I have 4 divisions, so in total, all of the divisions I can use, or all the regiments I can use, is only up to 7, which are these 7 here. And he has, alone, he has 6 regiments right here. So he beats me by, I have half the amount of men he has on this flank. As well as over here, it's 4 against, well, 2 that we can see. But there are quite a few more on the flank there, so I'm definitely outnumbered here. I'm going to have to be very careful. At this point, I believe I start running Hancock over here just for a morale boost, but we're definitely already taking a lot of casualties. This division here, almost down to 200. These troops have taken 100 casualties. 24th Georgia taking a lot as well. Already a lot of carnage in this area, but my troops have taken quite a lot as well. Pretty much just out in the open, with the exception of a few trees here. Taking many casualties. Let's see, Cadwell's division up here at 215 out of 250. It's still doing, being quite efficient against 24th Georgia, numbering them quite a lot. It's still pretty healthy in terms of how my army is doing. At this point, my 10-pounders are actually going to start firing canister shot into Hood's division, who's charging at them. They've already taken a bunch of casualties. Look at that amount of casualties just from a few volleys. They're going to charge forward, taking more and more casualties as they come across this open field. They're shaken there in the red now. Not quite at the point of breaking, though. They're not quite wavering, so I can fire a volley in time, but the only problem is that I'm on top of a hill, so it's kind of hard to shoot down with my cannons, as well as the fact that cannons in this mod don't really do good when firing canister from really up close, so yeah, they're going to get into my cannons. They're though taking some point-blank shots there from Hood's division, so definitely not the best. My 69th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry here, shooting at the Texas Brigade and Hood's division. One of my other units runs, it's my cannons, but we have broken Hood's division in the process, as well as they're taking some shrapnel shot here from 3-inch ordnance, which it's called special shot in this mod, but if you've ever played Empire or know the ins and outs of Empire, you know some of the cannons have a shot called shrapnel shot, which I'm guessing this is where the creator of the mod kind of got the idea for, but I don't know. First Minnesota is just trying to hold the flank off, trying to do some damage to McLaw's division, and well, basically all of McLaw's division over here, which is holding 3 regiments strong, so over 1,000 or 750 men in total over here on the flank, along with Pigot's division, which I believe there's 2 of those over there, or there's a few over there. So pretty strong regiments holding the center here, and there's not much I can do against them. Hood's division is still holding out very long, not taking too many casualties. Lee's taking some fire from the from stray shots, and they're down to 4 out of 12 men. Their morale's still in the green, but it looks like they are taking some hits. Hood's division lost a man already, not too much. The carnage in this area is just extreme, only from not really any melee, just from the prolonged combat, prolonged firing. Hancock, now he's moved up to reinforce his troops, to get his morale up of his troops, to kind of make his men want to fight a little bit more. But at this point, my troops have already taken a lot of casualties. These troops are down to 100. It's going to reload here. I'm just trying to get my troops back in fighting condition. Right now, they're really worn out. So are the Confederate forces, but they are holding pretty strong right now on this fence. So it's going to be really hard for me to push on them. They have an extra 2 regiments over here, which I'm going to have my Cadwell's division fight them at some point. I'm also trying to hit them with cannons just to soften them up and then push up. But right now, it's really not looking too great for me. I'll fast forward to just a bit of firing. This unit should retreat pretty soon. They've lost a lot of troops, but... And now Robert E. Lee's staff is down to 3 men. Him and his bodyguard is all that is left. These 2 troops right here and Robert E. Lee. Losing another one. They retreat out of there. Only Robert E. Lee and 1 man survived out of the whole 12. So a little hair of luck there, saving his troops, but at the same time they retreated, so his morale should be a lot less than mine is. Hancock is still alive and well. His unit is good to go. Haven't taken any casualties, so. My 72nd Pennsylvania is really holding the flank here. They have lost quite an amount of troops as well. Their volunteer regiment has actually deepened a lot in morale, so I don't know, their morale's in the orange already. I'm really surprised. This unit isn't really a special unit or anything. They're kind of just a regular, kind of almost like militia, somewhere between standard and militia, so holding on this long is very impressive for the ratio of troops they've lost out of their entire unit. So already this battle's not going too great. I've lost a lot of troops. Hood's division is down by 50 men. McLaw's division hasn't lost any, but their morale is down a little bit. I'm guessing the cannon fire is doing quite a bit to their morale. First Minnesota is holding the trees here. I don't know how effective they really are being. It doesn't seem like they're doing too much of a toll on the enemy here. They're doing a little bit, along with the cannon fire coming in. But so far, nothing really will happen with the First Minnesota. They'll probably break before they can actually hold, unless I do get them out of there, which I do. They're one of my, they are, I believe, my most elite unit, or one of my most expensive infantry units, at least. He's retreating back his Texas Brigade, his Hood's Division, 24th Georgia, and Volunteer Infantry Regiment back into the forest. So now I believe it is my time to push. 69 Pennsylvania still has good morale. Cadwell's Division is probably one of my most healthy out of any of my units with 210. Besides Hayes' Division, some of the regiments over here are really healthy just because of the lack of fighting they have had. So my troops should push up pretty soon. They're falling back. I'm going to hit them with cannon fire. Holding on the wall here. I think he thinks I'm going to try to flank, but I'm just going to push right from the front. You know, old Union tactics here. I move up my cannons again. These are my 3-inch ordnance this time, not my pounders, which are, their unit is still, I think, yeah, they're supposed to rout, but they're still just standing here, so I don't know. So I'm going to get my cannons to open up. Once I do that, I'm going to advance my troops through the forest and just try to support my infantry as much as I can. With how much money I've spent on my cannons, I should really try to utilize them the most out of anything. 10-pounder parrot here, firing off into the distance. I've stayed there the whole game, just trying to weaken and soften up the troops of the enemy. So my guys are moving up into a pretty straight line. You can see this unit has already been reduced to a single line here, so not many men left. But definitely won't be as big as the target, but the morale is still definitely very low. See how many troops have died in the forest here, in the land here. Not so many from this unit. I'm surprised at Cadwell's division. I don't think they took as many casualties because their unit wasn't in direct fire. They were mainly just shooting at Harrow's division. The Confederates got a pretty even amount of firing. You can see how many casualties their side has taken here. Lots of troops have died, especially right there on the flank with cannon fire and being hit by 2 divisions, the 72nd and Harrow's there. 20-foot Georgia, it looks like they're going to hold out in the forest, so I'm going to push up as close as I can get out of the open field and get towards the fence. They're running up here, taking casualties along the way. They've already lost about 5 or 6 men. Their morale is going down, but as soon as it gets to the forest, it should be, my morale should go up a little bit, as well as my cover. Cadwell's division holding in the trees here. We're going to fire Hood's division and Texas Brigade actually going for a charge here. He's going to be aggressive, which is, I kind of like, it would have been better than it's better than a really boring match where we just fire back and forth. So this is one of the most interesting parts of the battle here. They're approaching on very thin lines. Our cannon fire is actually hitting some of our own troops. We get off point blank fire before they get into combat. They actually break pretty quickly. You can just see how many casualties they took actually charging out into the Union regiments here. And it's pretty obvious that they would break there because they just took too many casualties. We're starting to break Hood's division. We've broken actually Texas Brigade and Hood's division, so we've broken most of their flank, and now we can push into the rest of their troops over here. But I remember that my 1st Minnesota over there is still very, very badly outnumbered. So kind of a miracle there that we could hold off those units, because otherwise that would be really bad. My units come back from routing really quickly, so I can push them back into battle. Still have my 69th Pennsylvania, which I'm going to rush over pretty soon to help out my flank here. General Hancock still holding at the road, just observing the battle from behind a forest and the slope of the road. So very, very intense fighting so far. They have taken a lot of casualties, but so have we, and we're already outnumbered, so they can take them, but we cannot take as many. Fighting near the fence here. He has reserved a huge unit, volunteer infantry regiment, almost entirely healthy, holding on the flank there, as well as the 24th Georgia. I actually try to be pretty aggressive on the flank, try to take out this little patch of trees right here where Robert E. Lee once stood, and try to do some damage. But it is going to be very hard. We are firing into their units over there, hopefully doing some damage. So Hayes Division here, firing still most of Hayes Division, holding the center, along with some of the other Pennsylvania regiments, are going to be facing off against much healthier units here. This division is still, for how much they've been getting shot at this battle, still haven't taken many casualties at all. Down to 160, but still pretty healthy, relatively speaking. 69th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry is going to go up to support Cadwell's division. These 2 units are some of my more healthy units, which is kind of surprising because they're down to almost half of their unit, and we are going to charge in pretty soon though. Volunteer Infantry Regiment there. I'm going to fire off a few shots and then I'm going to go for the charge because I need to be aggressive here. I will lose in shooting in a line battle, so I have to go for a quick, swift attack here. My cannon's doing some shrapnel shot here, doing some damage to their troops. They're still confident, which is very surprising for how many casualties they've taken. Another 24th Georgia here. Actually, I think they moved back, but holding off. I guess they can only be one 24th Georgia. Units are firing through the trees here. We have a bit of a hill advantage, which is why I thought my charge might succeed. Over here, he's starting to push with a lot of regiments. He has 3 regiments here. Pickett's division, volunteer infantry. So Pickett's division is over here, and 2 volunteer infantry regiments pushing up through the trees towards my 1st Minnesota. So this battle is already going to be pretty tough. We've already lost a lot. My cannons aren't really in the best spot. We're also hitting trees, it seems like. Tell by the crater here. I don't know if we're in range, but I don't know. I'm also getting some friendly fire here. You can see right there, friendly hit. The my cannons. We are going to charge in soon, though. 207 out of 250. 115. They're still holding very strong for how many men they've lost. So for losing their general, they actually have very surprisingly good morale. My 1st Minnesota is holding back behind the wall here. Gonna try to get some fire off into the rebels out in the forest, but I don't really know how much damage we can do at this point. They have a lot of troops forming up on my flank here, coming around. Ace Division firing off a lot of smoke. They look like little cotton balls. It's funny. Anyway, they're still firing off into our troops over the hill against the Ace Division, which outnumbered actually 2 to 1 here. Still getting off some good shots. Ace Division, Hood's Division is still holding out though against a lot of numbers. They're still in the green, they're eager. Even though I can't see their flag, it says that they're eager. 125, they will also be a lot better in melee because my troops are winded and a little tired and theirs are fresh. I'm sitting here most of the battle, except for this unit. This unit's tired, must have ran back. My troops are firing at the rebels through the trees here from a slight hill advantage. I guess there's a bit of a dip here. They're running up. So pushing up here through the tree line, I guess through the trees with their divisions. There's a full 1,000 men on this flank against 172. So we are outnumbered by quite a lot. There's even more than 1,000. There's if each unit has about 250, that is quite a lot of troops here. It's quite a bit. 500. There's another 500 there. Well, some of the units have already been depleted a little bit, so it won't be totally accurate, but they do have a good bit more of men than I do. Volunteer infantry regiment here, still holding the forest. Most of these are just volunteer regiments. Pickett's division as well, though. Pickett's division is going into the battle. Just like the real battle, my 1st Minnesota holds them off for a while. Let's see, they're still pushing up. Oh wait, oh, okay, almost missed it. My divisions are charging into a volunteer infantry regiment here, taking down their numbers, with 24th Georgia moving up to support them. But they are taking a ton of casualties already. My troops are starting to break though, which is kind of sad. Already fighting quite a bit. Hood's division is losing troops. My 1st Minnesota, so a lot going on right now. My 1st Minnesota charges in to the Pickett's division, outnumbered by a lot here, losing a ton of their troops in the process. But this allows the rest of my my infantry to retreat back and hold a defensive position out against the Confederates long enough for my troops to get back together. 1st Minnesota actually breaks the 1st unit, but they're taking tons of casualties from fire. They're going to retreat back, but they do break eventually from too much fire, too many casualties. Ace Division still holding, now reduced to a single line as well. Harrow's Division firing at the troops, probably getting some friendly fire here, but still doing some damage. They're fighting in the forest here. They are in the red. So lots of casualties being taken. My unit is about to rout here. They're wavering. It should rout pretty soon. So we're losing tons of troops. There we go. They run away. We have lost a lot of troops. We're losing some actually retreating back. We are taking casualties. He is following very close behind with his volunteer infantry regiment. This division here. Looks like they're going to form up on the wall here. Actually, never mind. Looks like they're going for a charge. Here, my battle is starting to go downhill. I have 4 infantry divisions left, kind of capable of fighting, not stuck in a building. Able to shoot out in the open field. We are firing through the fences here, shooting at them as they move towards us. My canister is, not my canister, my shrapnel is still coming in. They're losing quite a bit of troops out in the, on there here, but he is going to form up a line and fire against my troops. Learning from his prior mistakes not to charge in to some angry Union boys here. Yeah, but we're taking tons of casualties from their volleys there. Reduced to underneath 100 men. This division is also taking a lot of casualties too, but they are a lot more healthy than my other regiment next to me. They're already in the red. If we can break them, we might be able to win this flank, but okay, never mind. He has another unit coming in of 197 troops. They're going to charge in. Hancock is moving as close as he can there. Now, this is really a miracle over here. There's 3 units against my 2, 72nd and 1st Minnesota. Wait, okay, never mind. My 1st Minnesota came back from routing. I forgot about this. And he came to help out morale-wise with the rest of my army, holding in about the center of the troops here. Point-blank fire into the 24th Georgia. 1st Minnesota against the 24th Georgia. 72nd Pennsylvania against the Hoods Division. I charge in Hancock, which is a mistake. Point-blank fire here. That probably really helped, because otherwise in melee... There we go, yeah. Poor old Hancock gets killed there. My morale's going down, but we were still holding out very well against the troops. He runs in everyone. Takes out my flank here of Hayes Division. I got quite a bit of friendly fire there from the cannons. Hayes Division on the flank also holding off against the volunteer infantry regiments. We break all the units over there. We actually shatter 3 units, but the next divisions are going to wipe us out here. Since in all of his troops at the end, very aggressive, but wrapping up the battle, which is pretty much already over. So we fast forward here. We are taking out a lot of our troops are taking casualties. Hayes Division might be able to hold out. Okay, there we go. We broke another unit. We broke 2 more, but there are 5 more divisions to take out, as well as another 2. Here, which is not going to be easy. We are starting to break some of them, so we are doing quite a bit of damage on their army at the end. So if this was a campaign, we would probably actually be okay if we could reinforce with more armies, but it is not looking too good for the Union right now. Which they don't have a campaign for the Napoleonic one for the ACW mod. I believe they have one for the Brothers versus Brothers for Empire. So I never really played that mod, but seems pretty cool. But anyway, we are holding them off. 1st Minnesota, Hayes Division still fighting against all 5 of these, but we are getting taken out by the sheer force of the troops here. Over 1,000 men right here, just taking out all of our troops, stabbing and jabbing them to death. They're still taking quite a bit of casualties. I was trying to get some shrapnel in here, get really good hits, maybe actually win by breaking the rest of their units, but it is too late. We have taken a ton of casualties. Our morale is weakened. We're doing quite a toll on their troops here, though. They have taken a lot of casualties. So this battle already, you can see all the carnage from their troops pushing up here. You can actually see visible lines of where the fights were. On this corner here, tons of casualties, as well as in the forest here. They actually still have McLaw's division. This division actually still survived. Looks like they ran back, but holding out for a really long time there. Our troops were very resilient in this battle, which I guess made it last a little bit longer. My cannons are still firing into their troops here. He's going to charge me just like he did in the beginning. I'm going to fast forward here now. Really all he's going for is the is my cavalry. Again, really bloody battle. You can see the carnage in the forts here. This unit alone, look how many troops they have lost. There are double lines here of pretty much whole units, whole divisions have died in this battle. So really bloody. Fighting on really all sides here. Both sides have taken a big toll. I believe they've killed more than he has, just because he had more troops to kill, probably.
Our men are running.
He takes a building from me. I'm not too worried about it, because it doesn't really matter. I'm already losing a lot of troops. Pushes in another division, probably breaks my Cadwall's division there. Still technically though, his troops are stuck in the building, but whatever. He's just gonna massacre them now, because they cannot move. They're also breaking, which means they're just gonna be stuck here until they die off. So charging all of his troops around, heading for any cannons left. So a very bloody battle, pretty much over. I'll just fast forward it here. Texas Brigade. A lot of their regiments though have either broken out of the battle or they are severely wounded, severely damaged here. Some units with barely over 100 out of 250. That is a large ratio of their troops gone. So pretty close battle. I'm still kind of spent my money a little bit badly. We were doing some damage here though to their troops with some of the shrapnel fire, or I think it might just be canister at this range. He gets my troops though, charges them. That is actually the end of the battle. I don't really have any troops left, so it doesn't really matter. I killed 2,324. He killed 1,879 of my troops. 1,945 losses on my side, 2,356 on his. But then again, I have almost 2,000 less troops than he does. So, still a really fun battle. I held out kind of okay for being so badly outnumbered. Really cool at the end there with the charges. My highest unit got 306, I guess because Hayes' division was holding the center there. My cannon's getting 262, 246 for the 72nd. First Minnesota got 213. Kind of proud of them just because historically they were a very crucial unit to this actual battle here at Gettysburg. Again, it wasn't historical, but it was a really fun battle. It wasn't so much funny. A lot of guys died here, but a very fun battle, very cool. But anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.